So let me introduce you to a product that you never knew you needed. This is the Gizzu 60-watt mini DC UPS. And this is the solution to keeping your internet on for extended power outages, not just load shedding, as well as it gives you the ability to charge up your phone through 2 USB ports, as well as power 12 volt and 9 volt devices. So this is the Gizzu 60-watt mini DC 69 watt-hour UPS. And it's simple and easy to install and allows you to power various devices during extended power outages or load shedding. With multiple DC output ports, this router can power both your ONT and your router for long hours to allow you to continue browsing the internet during load shedding or even work online. It can also allow you to power your CCTV cameras and VoIP phones via the PoE Ethernet port, as well as it can allow you to charge mobile devices or even USB powered devices thanks to the 2 USB ports that are also built into this device. So the first thing, when you purchase this device, what do you get out the box? Firstly, you get the Gizzu 60-watt mini DC UPS. After that, you get 1 meter AC power figure 8 cable. Then you get 2 1 meter 2.5mm DC power cables. You get a 30 centimeter DC splitter that allows you to split one output into 2. Then you get 3 different DC adapters for different ONT and router connections. And then after the connectors, you also get a Ethernet adapter, an Ethernet or a PoE converter, and finally you get the user manual. Now let's talk about the design. So this is a cool plastic finish, and the one thing I'm happy to say, this isn't cheap plastic that has been used. In terms, on the front, it has a power button, status indicator to indicate whether you're AC or inverter or UPS mode, and then whether your 12 volt is switched on or your 9 volt, and your battery percentage from 25, 50, 75 and 100. At the top we have the Gizzu branding, and then when we turn to the back, at the back we have all of the DC ports. We have our 220 volt input, we have 4 12 volt output ports, we have one port that allows you to select the voltage, so you could select between a 9 volt and a 12 volt output. We also have a 12 volt solar input, so that means this device can be charged via solar input. You have 24 and 48 voltage selector, and this is for your PoE connection. And here you can see you can have your LAN connecting in and then the PoE being pushed out of the device. Underneath the device we have an air inlet, so the air is sucked in through there. And then we have 2 vents on either side that are also as inlets. And then at the front, you see we have a vent basically blowing air out. So this allows the device to stay cool. And this vent at the front actually has a mini fan here to help with cooling and air distribution through the device so that it doesn't overheat. After we look at the back ports, we have 2 USB ports on the front and a 5 volt DC output port as well at the front for us to use. And that's more or less it in terms of the design. So in terms of technical specifications, its dimensions, firstly, it is 26 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 5 centimeters. And this weighs 1.1 kilograms. So it is quite a bit of a chunky boy. After that, some of the battery information. So there's many different versions of this. This version is the 60 watt, and the battery is a 21,600 milliamp hour battery, which is a lithium ion polymer battery. In terms of power output, 60 watts or 69 watt hours. In terms of input, we have our 240 volt input as well as the 12 volt solar input to charge up this device. In terms of outputs, firstly, the 2 USB ports at the front are 2 5 volt 2 amp USB ports, and then we have the 9 volt 12 volt which is selectable, and that's 2 amps as well. Our 4 12 volt outputs are 5 amp outputs, and then obviously we have our 48 and 24 volt PoE. In terms of charging times, the manufacturer doesn't have any suggested charging times or how long it'll take to charge up, but we'll talk about our experiences a little later. In terms of some of its other features, firstly, it has intelligent protective design with overcharge protection, over discharge protection, as well as short circuit protection. It has an electronic leak protection as well as smart chip controlling. So smart chip controlling, what it does, it doesn't have the outputs always being running. Only when it detects a device, then only will it turn that device on. Now, moving on to the estimated runtime of this device. So the manufacturer suggests that you can have an ONT powered for 23 hours, which is a 3-watt ONT. You can have a router powered for up to 7 hours, which is 10 watts. And then you can have a smartphone recharged, which is a 3,500 milliamp hour smartphone, 7 times. That's quite a bit of power that we have built in here, excuse the pun. So when we tested it, right, I had our ONT and our router connected, and if my math was correct, it's something like a 36-watt combination because it's 1.5 amps at 12 volts. So when we ran this lasted about 8.5 hours. But the cool thing with this, it didn't actually run it flat. It ran it until it could sustain it, and then what happened, over discharge protection kicked in and it switched it off. So it didn't let it actually drain the battery completely. I'm sure if I connected up a phone at that point, it would have still allowed me to charge the phone. When we recharged this, as soon as we got out of load shedding, that was like 8 o'clock, this thing started charging, and by 10 o'clock when I swung by, I noticed that, hey, you know what, this thing is 100%. So that'll tell you it took 8.5 hours to drain this battery, but it took 2 hours, or just about 2 hours, a little more than 2 hours maybe even, to charge it back up to 100%. So you know that if you install something like this and you're powering your router and ONT, if you're having load shedding every 4 hours or something, you know you're gonna be sorted as soon as the power comes back on, and you're not gonna be wondering, hey, you know what, will this thing charge enough during that time so that when the next round of load shedding kicks in, is it going to sustain us for the 2 hours? So that's not something you have to worry about. And I think that was really cool. And that's why I actually purchased the bigger device, which is a 21,000 milliamp hour, as we mentioned. Moving on to who is this device for. So this specific device, the 60 watt hour, which is the larger battery, the 21,000 milliamp hour battery. This more specifically would be someone that's working from home, someone that has cameras that they need to be powered on, someone that needs additional auxiliary power to power whatever. Yeah, that would be the person that this device speaks to. If this specific device is not for you and it's out of your price bracket, there is lower battery capacity devices that are still the 60 watt hour that can power your router and your ONT. There's even smaller devices, meaning that it has less outputs and that whole story. I think there was one that has a single USB port and I think 2 DC 12 volt output ports, just to power your router and ONT and in case you need to charge your phone. So the version that is smaller than this is the 17,000 milliamp hour battery. And that one retails for about 1,100, 1,200 rand. This specific device with the 21,000 milliamp hour battery retails for anywhere between 1,900 rand and 2,000 rand. But at the point of recording, this was on special on Takealot for 1,400 rand. So if you'd like to check it out, the link's in the description below. So the next thing we have to talk about is the pros and the cons of this device. Firstly, big pro, the fact that it has such a huge battery built in and it allows you to power your selected devices for such a long period of time. Other thing as a pro is the fact that it has so many outputs built in. It allows you to power your router, power your ONT, charge 2 phones. Third thing is the fact that it has this smart chip control built in. And basically what the smart chip control does is these ports are not turned on all the time. It's not continuously putting out 12 volts. It's not continuously putting out 5 volts. Only when there is a load detected or is something plugged in will it be generating power like that. So that's the smart bit. The fourth pro from my side is the fact that it takes 12 volt 2 amp solar input. So if you wanted to have this thing charged and powered on its own, you could buy a small panel and just have it sitting on your roof and have it wired directly into this, so that you know your internet is basically being charged free of charge and you're not actually paying for it to be charged. So that's that. In terms of cons, I couldn't really pick up too many cons with this device, besides the fact that there's no warning, first of all. The second con that I didn't like, personal preferences, is the fact that these LED status indicators, it's just 25, 50, 75 and 100. I would have preferred it to have a little bit of a digital input like that. As to what that device is, you just have to wait and find out. So those are my pros and my cons. Now, coming to rounding up with this device, this powers your essentials. Internet so that you can stay occupied. It's not going to give you your 55-inch TV to watch TV and your ZTV programs, but it's going to provide you with essential internet. You can make your WhatsApp calls, you can receive WhatsApp calls, you can talk to people, you can sit on Facebook for 2 hours. So in terms of rating, I am going to rate this device a 9.5 out of 10 from techsceneza. So it has the techsceneza stamp of approval. But this is an awesome device and it's essential to any home during load shedding, any home in South Africa. It's essential for you right now. And I mean, load shedding is so unpredictable. During the rugby, there was no load shedding. And as soon as we win the cup and the Webb Ellis is back in South Africa, there we go, we have load shedding. On that note, shout out to the Springboks. Congratulations on winning the World Cup. Anyway, guys, that rounds us up. A big thank you to Syntech. They haven't sent this device out for me to review. I have actually purchased this device for me, for my home, but they've hooked me up with a little bit of a discount. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can let me know by like rating if you did. And if you do have any questions about this device or any other power solution, leave your questions in the comment section below. My name is Prashant and I'll catch you in the next video.